Happy Monday, and thanks for tuning in to Playing Catch Up. I'm Tamara Brown, and that's Kylie Wang, and we're here to get you all caught up on everything involving South Florida sports. Kylie, let's get things started with what happened on Friday night. We already know what happened Sunday, but we're starting on Friday. We're going to start there. With that win, what were your biggest takeaways about how they were able to, one, Jimmy Butler and his triple-double again, Duncan Robinson's success, but then to pull off that win and extend the NBA Finals series another game?
And I like that we're going to start off with something positive. But yeah, definitely in that game 5, obviously that was just the Jimmy Butler show. I think that there is no other way that you can there's no other storyline of that game. It was Jimmy Butler. I mean, he had a second triple-double of that series. He totaled 35 points. He played 47 out of 48 minutes. Like, he put it all on the line and he was exhausted. And we'll talk about how that exhaustion translated into game 6 in a minute. But I mean, also, you look at the stats in that game, the only really big support he had was from Duncan Robinson, who had 7 threes in that game for a total of 26 points. Other than Jimmy, there wasn't that much else to me. I mean, that's the storyline.
And it's interesting because on Friday I said, in Friday's Playing Catch Up, I said, I'm like, probably going to need another triple-double performance from Jimmy Butler to get them to the next game, and that's exactly what happened. And it's funny that he always tweet empty the tank, empty the tank. He definitely emptied the tank in that game, and like you said, we'll talk about how that could have translated into what happened on Sunday, but it was nice to see the finals go on for at least another game.
Yeah, and that's I think the positive take that we can get out of all of this is that Jimmy Butler basically, I mean, not to take away from what other players in the Heat have done this season and in this series, but specifically in this series, Jimmy Butler basically put the team on his back for 2 out of 6 games. So if Jimmy Butler alone can go toe-to-toe with 2 future Hall of Famers and win 2 games basically on his own, all the Heat need to do is find a group of guys who can win the other 2 games.
There's a lot to be proud of, just like I said with the Marlins on Friday as well. A lot to be proud of with how they made a run to the postseason and in the postseason. So not something to just, be sad about. There's just great things looking forward ahead, to what's to come for this program.
Yeah, there's nothing to do. I mean, this roster, this is the basement for this roster. We've said this at 5 Reasons all season long. The only place for this roster to go is up. They're going to sign someone in the offseason who is going to be great for them. And I predict a finals win next year for sure. Yeah, Inter Miami was actually another Miami team that came up with a W over the weekend. Saturday, 1-0 victory over the Houston Dynamo in a game that was kind of crazy. It was interrupted by a rain delay. There was a lot of rain on the field. The single goal came from Lewis Morgan in the 57th minute off of a penalty kick. But well worth the trade. Gonzalo Higuain is already creating opportunities. He had a couple of really good chances. They did fall short. But speaking of Gonzalo Higuain, I think that there's some interesting news about his brother that you had to share.
Yes, Federico, it will be joining this team based off a trade from DC United. So that'll be super exciting to have, another great addition to this team. Kylie, I just don't want to say that everything that I said needed to happen for them to get a win happened, but it did. And Friday's show, and everyone can go back and watch this if you haven't already, I said they need to take advantage of the fact that the 49ers have injuries. Starting quarterback out. He practiced on Wednesday, limited availability. Obviously, superstar Nick Bosa out. And so I'm like, you really got to go in and take advantage of this team whose only 2 wins were on the road. So you're about to go into their house and honestly take advantage of the things, their weaknesses, essentially. And they did exactly that. And I also said, you got to score touchdowns. I feel like, there's been a lot of success from Sanders, which is awesome. I'm not knocking special teams. It's great. It's a great addition to the team. But touchdowns are necessary. And it was nice to see this Dolphins team truly be able to get into the red zone and actually come out of it with a touchdown instead of just 3 points. So I honestly liked everything that I saw. And I called it all on Friday that, this was the formula. It happened, and they came home with a huge victory. What did you like?
Yeah, well, you mentioned Jason Sanders. He actually set the Dolphins franchise record for consecutive field goals to begin a season with 14. But it wasn't just the special teams that put up a dominant performance. Dominant on both sides of the ball, actually. Jimmy G was back in the lineup, as you mentioned, for the 49ers, but he was actually benched in the second half for C.J. Beathard after he threw 2 interceptions, those by Bobby McCain and Xavier Howard, and he was sacked 3 times. The Dolphins defense had a total of 5 sacks. 8 quarterback hits, 7 passes defensed, just an absolutely dominant performance. And Fitzpatrick, we got some of that Fitz magic back. He was 22 of 28 for 350 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 154.5 rating, and a 99.1 QBR, which is the best of any quarterback this season.
I think they've been making strides game by game, so it was nice to see them show up and, be able to have sacks and interceptions and really take advantage of the situation. Because I think, game 1, we talked about this. Everyone was just like going crazy and going insane. Like, this is the same Dolphins team. And it's like, gotta relax. There was no
like we told everyone they need to calm down. Yeah. And you know what else? It's not to a time yet, as we saw this week, but we did see Tua celebrating with Fitzpatrick on the sidelines. There's no bad blood there. Mike Gesicki piling on the praise for Fitzpatrick, saying that he would love to play with him for 15 more years. Preston Williams with his first 100-yard game of the season, 4 receptions, 106 yards, and no touchdown. And Mike Gesicki, again, proving that he is one of the best young tight ends in this league, if not one of the best overall. 5 receptions, 91 yards, and a long of 70. Now, also, quick news for the Dolphins. Due to COVID complications, they're going to get a bye next week instead of week 11, which is when they're going to play the Denver Broncos instead of this week.
And now moving on to our other Miami football team, the Miami Hurricanes went up to play the Clemson Tigers, number 1 nationally, obviously. And it was a huge ACC matchup where, we were really able to see where this Hurricane team is. They've played in a lot of primetime games, but this was their first, top 5 opponent that they were facing and on the road. Kylie, what did you see from this Hurricanes team after watching that game?
There was a lot to be sad about, but there are some highlights which I'm going to bring up now. Obviously, the Canes gave up 550 yards of total offense to Trevor Lawrence and the Tigers, and they only put up 210 of their own, which, you can't do against Clemson. They only had 9 first downs, but special teams was the highlight. I mean, talk about offense, talk about defense. Special teams is the highlight of this game. They got the Canes' first TD off of a blocked Clemson field goal. They actually blocked a total of 3 kicks. Bubba Bolden had 2 of those block kicks credited to him. He's the ACC Defensive Player of the Week with 10 tackles, 1 forced fumble, and 2 blocked kicks. Derek King, you'd like to see a little bit better from him. 12 of 28 for 121 yards, 2 interceptions. He did have 84 rush yards and 1 rush touchdown, which is really nice. But, look at the run game. King was the Canes' leading rusher, and he had 56 of those 84 yards come off of just 1 play. No one else on the Canes broke over 10 yards rushing. That is horrendous. That can't happen. That can happen in any game, regardless of your opponent.
That's it for our football news from this weekend. But now moving on to hockey, the Panthers had free agency start on Friday. A lot of things going on. Kylie, do you want to get us all caught up on that?
Yeah, that first day of free agency was pretty crazy. But General Manager Bill Zito in his first year is doing a lot. He signed versatile forwards Alexander Wenberg, Carter Verhaeghe, Vinny Hinostroza, and Ryan Lomberg to the Panthers roster. He also signed Radko Gudas, who is pretty notorious for being a really tough defenseman. Panthers are doing a lot in free agency with signings and draftings. I know we've kept you updated on that. Obviously, draft day was just last week. This is going to be a completely new team in 2021, and it's going to be headed by some returning favorites, Alexander Barkov, Jonathan Huberdeau. But all of these signings are really focused on mental fortitude, veteran experience, combined with the skills on the ice. And I'm really excited to see this team under Bill Zito and what they actually managed to get done with Joel Quenneville as the head coach. So that's what you missed on Playing Catch Up. Thank you so much for tuning in with me and Tamara Brown. We'll be right back on Wednesday. I'll bring you another episode. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.